Our next guest, Matt Light, who joins us this morning on the Harbor One hotline. Hello, Matthew.
Well, good morning, people.
Been a while.
It has, man, and I take it you guys had a great Thanksgiving, and
Yes.
and we're pretty fired up for a big game tomorrow.
Yes.
And Wiggy's down 50 pounds.
Yes.
That I am.
Yes, he is.
Looks
He's
great.
down 50. Did you see the results of the catch-off between he and Foye by any chance? Unfortunately, Wiggy did not end up winning that competition.
Dang it, I missed it.
Okay.
But I gotta know, like, is it like Wiggs? I'm dying to lose some weight here, buddy, and
Yep.
I gotta ask you, is it worth it? Was it worth it?
It was. I'm mad. I'm down 50 pounds. It's 100% worth it. And you know what? I'm probably about 7 pounds away from my playing weight. And I love to eat. Obviously, I wasn't, built like a Greek god when I played.
Oh, don't sell yourself short.
What do you, Matt, when you get on the scale now, what are you at? What?
This is embarrassing. I'm still at 300. Now, keep in mind, I played at 305, and I haven't seen a gym in a decade, so it's not flattering.
Yeah, but you're not that bad though. I was going.
Oh,
listen,
you look great, honestly. At 300, you carry 300
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and Wiggs, you're going to love this, but we had a guy that was our strength coach for a long time, and Mike Wojcik, and a New England native, and a guy that, won, I don't know, they got 3 rings when he was in Dallas, and obviously the 3 when he was here. He's a legendary strength coach, and he would walk in the weight room, and he would look at me sitting there trying to look busy, and he'd go, "Oh, look at that. It's a flab-avalanche." Lights stood up. And I'm like, I still hear his words every time I stand up. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that ain't too bad. At least you weren't. I was probably about 50, 60 pounds over my playing weight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, three. You can get. I mean, as long as you're comfortable, Mrs. Light is happy. I mean, I wouldn't worry about it.
No, listen, I appreciate that, and I have to guess that Wiggs, you probably took it easy on Thanksgiving. You've got a whole new lifestyle now. I just don't know if I'm ready for that transition.
No.
See, I didn't think so either, but the food, it was the food on this is a real diet with real food. That's what helped me out because I don't know how to cook. I don't have the patience for eating right, but all my meals are basically given to me every single week. So that was what kind of, I go by the Thai law, and Thai, I think, said it the best. As long as somebody comes up to me and goes, "Oh, you look like you could still play," I'm happy.
That's a great one. But the difference between, your plan and Ty's a liquid vodka only diet,
That is correct. Yes. Can you clear something else up? Wiggy has been pretending to be a wildlife expert, even though he grew up in Brooklyn and East Boston, but whatever. Is the wild hog, the wild boar, the most vicious animal that we have on American soil?
Listen, I think you could probably search up, the number of people that have been attacked by wild boar, right? It's not a lot. I mean, they can be a little aggressive, but I wouldn't put them up there as honestly, here in the Northeast, at least, which we don't really, we don't have any wild hogs in the Northeast, but probably the most dangerous animal we have up here is the moose.
Really?
Yeah. They look so nice and tender, but, watch the videos of people who, you always see the Yellowstone video where there's somebody usually from Europe that's going to walk out and become one with like a bear or a moose. But the moose is the one that always turns and gives them a run for their money. And everybody's cheering for them or gasping, But I'd like to think that if you get attacked by a wild animal because you're dumb enough to walk up to them, it's kind of justice. Yeah.
Getting away from a bear, what is better, going up a tree or in water? This was another thing Wiggy just told us.
Because they can't swim. I mean, it's a known fact. You just jump right in.
No. That's what Wiggy
deep
said.
Deep water.
That's not true. They can swim.
Not
They're
in deep
excellent.
water.
Shime looked it up. They're
Shime.
excellent swimmers.
They're not in deep waters.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, thank you for proving my point. They're really good swimmers.
Yeah.
Like you don't look. I've had two moments where I've had really close encounters with bear when I've been in the wild. Like, and I mean like the wild, right? And both times I was dumb enough to not scream like a little girl, which is what I wanted to do. But I was also close to where I wanted to hunt. So I didn't want to ruin my chances of hunting, but I was willing to die for the chance at doing something, right? Like that's the dumbest thing you could do. I think the best thing you do when you're in bear country is you have that stuff called bear spray or a firearm. I don't think running, fetal position, deep water, climbing trees, those are, I'm going to just pass on all those. I'm going straight for a firearm or bear spray.
Yeah, firearm is key. That's why most people carry a pistol is for the bear.
Maddie, at this point, season-wise, what do you make of this New England Patriots team? I mean, you brought up tomorrow night, big game, obviously, and I mean, is this a team that will make the playoffs in your mind?
You know, I think it's going to be very difficult. You know, I've said this for so many years now that I feel like I'm like the broken record, right? The guy that's always calling doomsday and uphill both ways in the snow. But, you know, I've said for a long time that the conditions that these players are playing in cannot provide the environment for them to be successful in many ways, right? And look, yes, there's teams that are going out there and they're playing pretty good, right? There are teams that are also stacked with a ton of talent, right? Injury-wise, the game is no safer today than it was 10 years ago, right? In some categories, it's actually worse. But everything that's happened in the NFL was done under the idea of player safety, health, and wellness. But in reality, what you see are a whole bunch of guys who can't practice enough, who don't see the game in real speed. The backups never get a chance to get a look at what's happening in practice or, you know, obviously in preseason and games. There's just not enough time for an NFL player today to become great at what they do. That's why you see 8 drop passes for a quarterback like Tom Brady almost every week, right? You see line of scrimmage penalties. You see all these things that you're looking there going, man, this is Bush League. Like, what is this, the NFL? And I don't know why, you know, it doesn't stick with people, because then all it takes is one really good game, right? I mean, you look at the Thanksgiving games, the first 2 games were incredible, right? I mean, I thought that was pretty decent football to watch, and then everybody forgets about the reality that's under the undertones that these players have to play in. So it's going to be tough for these guys to make the playoffs.
So is that what you're kind of echoing what Tom Brady said earlier this year, where he'd seen a lot of bad football? Is that why the when it comes to the product, do you feel like it's poor?
Yeah, well, I think football and look, there's a lot of sports. If you're not getting punched in the mouth or you're not putting pads on and hitting people, it's kind of easy to go out there and go through the motions. In football, you have to have repeatability. You got to be able to run that play over and over and over again in practice. And you need to get your backups in there, too. I mean, where's the pipeline? Where are the backups ever going to get a chance to even see something at half speed, let alone full speed? And then you have a guy goes down, probably because his body's not used to getting hit like that. And then the backup has to come in and the game continues to go downhill. And look, I'll never forget Brady about 6 years ago telling me, like, if you're playing right now, you could literally wake up, roll out of bed, and play in a game. It's that easy. You know, now he's not saying that in terms of like there's no work that goes into it. The guy's working his tail off. But what he's saying is that they've changed the game so much. It's nothing like what it used to be.
Huh. You can either help my cause or hurt it, but I want an honest answer. When it comes to Mac Jones and his struggles this season, how much of that do you put on the O-line?
Well, look, it's a factor. I mean, you can't ask a young quarterback to go out there and be effective when there's no consistency up front. And you know, look, I'm not dogging these guys up front. These guys are working hard. They're going out there and trying to do things, but you got a lot of injuries, a lot of rotations. You're asking guys to play, you know, right tackle, then left tackle, then interior. That screws up, you know, a lot of guys. So there's a lot of reasons why up front they're not performing well. But it definitely has an effect on your quarterback.
So, Matt, how much of that, though, like when you think about some of the problems they're having up front, is because of maybe, you know, Matt Patricia trying to coach the O-line and be the offensive play caller, I don't want to call him the coordinator, but the play caller, how much is part of that not having a consistent O-line coach that just handles the O-line?
Well, it's Wiggs. It's the most guys on the field at any one time, and when you had a guy like Dante Scarnecchia, everything about his actions every single day were to make sure that we knew what we were doing, how to do it, and his expectations going into every game, right? So you have to have a very dynamic coach, number one, at that position. But look. Again, you're talking about it's not just the play calling, right? Like I look at it and there's a lot of things stacked against this offense when it comes to, just how are these guys going to be able to meld together? You got Mac going down for a little while. He's injured. He comes back in. There's just a lot of dynamics with the offense right now, and none of it's easy.
Matt, when you look at how Mac performed on Thursday, though, it was probably the best we've seen him do. You look at the last 6 games of the season; they're going to have to put up some big points to get wins in a lot of those games. Do you think he has the ability to do that?
Well, I mean, number one, does he have the confidence? Right? There's been a lot of things said about him. He's a young quarterback. Kids these days that come into the league. They're not pushed a lot. So, he's been pushed a lot this season, right? And also dealing with an injury. I mean, I can't stress how different people deal with injuries and the effect that it has on your game. So can he do it? I mean, he's proven that he can play the game pretty damn well, right? Especially in that rookie season where I think a lot of people were shocked at his performance throughout the year. So to me, the bigger question is, does he have the weapons and the tools around him to be able to do it? Will his line hold up? Will these guys be able to, play well together, playing a variety of different positions with the injuries and everything else? Will, the backs be able to perform at the highest level? Look, in my opinion, get the running game going. You heard it out of Tom Brady. You've heard it out of him his entire career. He's the best to ever play the game. If you want to be a great quarterback in this league, get a good running game, off and running.
Matt, what you said early on was really interesting to me. It seems like that the impact of a guy like Bill, who is the greatest coach of all time, may be somewhat mitigated by the lack of practice time and the inability for the full team in terms of the depth to get game action or game ready during practice. Would you say that may have negatively impacted this team maybe more than others because of Bill's sort of impact on the game plan?
Yeah, listen, and I swear we talked about it on this show years ago. I said when that CBA in 2011 was signed, that was Bill's biggest nightmare. I mean, he knew the writing was on the wall. Look, Bill's ability to take in guys that nobody heard of, right? The Steve Neals. I mean, look at the guys he brought in that had military careers, right? That were wrestlers that, really nobody heard of, and they become productive members of the team, right? He did that through practice and preparation, and you can't do it just from film study alone. Now, he still has an edge in the film room because nobody runs a film study like Bill Belichick, but he doesn't have the edge anymore on preparing the players to see what they need to see. And so, yeah, it's a big disadvantage.
Wow. Now, Curtis, I'm surprised you didn't ask the Brady question. Jeff Howe, writing in The Athletic, appears to be making the case for Tom and Bill reuniting and is suggesting that it is a real possibility. In your mind, does Tom Brady ever come back here and finish his career here?
Listen, I wouldn't put anything past him. I mean, the guy wants to win, and he knows how to do it with a guy like Belichick, right? I think he's seen, the differences now. I mean, he only played for Bill, and then he goes down to Tampa, and he's had a couple head coaches down there now, and he could conceivably come back and want to be with a proven winner. That would not shock me at all.
What about Bill?
Well, listen, I mean, Bill's the same way. I mean, you think Bill wakes up and doesn't say, hey, I don't really care, whatever it takes, right? Oh, we got to get rid of Lawyer Malloy, right before, the season, we're going to send him down to the guy we're playing in 5 days. Yeah, let's do it. Whatever Bill thinks is in the best interest of the team, Bill's going to do. And if he thinks he can win with Tom Brady, then, nothing would stop him from signing that check.
Matt, do you think that he feels he has the guy at quarterback going forward, or do you think he still needs to see more from Mac Jones?
Oh, I think he's going to need to see more. Bill's a long evaluator, right? It takes a lot of time. I mean, I was there for 11 seasons, and I'm not sure he ever really felt comfortable with me.
Yeah, he cut Wiggy.
So yeah, I mean, look, he wants to see a lot of things out of his players, and he wants to see them adapt. And every season is so drastically different with the guys that are sitting in that room, and you got to figure out what you got every year.
Matt Light is our guest, and you have an event coming up December 18th that we should talk about, Matt.
We do, man. We're going to be at Warrior Ice, right there, not too far from your studios, and we've got our alumni game. We've been doing this game for a long time. Bobby Lafredo, our board member, puts this thing together. He gets his all-stars. And we got the Bruins alumni, Ray Bork, Rick Middleton, Joey Mullen. We're going to have some surprise guests out there on the ice. And we want you to come out, have some fun, man. Watch the puck drop and see some awesome hockey action. Bring your kids. It's going to be an awesome time.
I know one guy who talks a pretty big game when it comes to hockey, and I'm not referring to myself.
He's down, and he's a little
former
soft
New
on
England
the ice
Patriot.
these days.
One former New England Patriot that's on this show.
Wiggs, hey, listen,
Yeah.
man. I mean, what a great way to keep the pounds shedding off. I mean,
That's
we
it.
need a player like you.
Well, I am very skilled. I was the MVP of my men's bear league, and I've played with those alumni guys enough. But I am very skilled.
Not an ankle bender.
Well,
No,
He's
I'm
a
not
puck-
an ankle
But he
bender.
is a puck hog.
As long as we have Bud Light after the game, I'm a happy camper.
Would you-
I
We
get you a
got
couple
plenty of
goals.
that in the locker room. And by the way, I've never actually been into Warrior Ice Arena. I hear it's phenomenal.
It is,
but
yes.
yeah, we're gonna have some fun there. 4:30 is the puck drop on the 18th. It's a Sunday, so if you want to come out, support the foundation. See the Bruins alumni and their foundation. We're going to be doing some great things on the ice, and it all goes to the Light Foundation. MattLight72.com. You can go to the website, and got to just say a huge thanks to Granite Telecommunications, Navigant Credit Union, and Belize Motors. They've sponsored this thing for a number of years, but it's going to be awesome, man. We're looking forward to it.
Well, you've done incredible stuff with your foundation, and you started it almost immediately. Actually, you started it when you were playing, so you've been doing it for a long time. So congrats on that, too, and thank you for doing that.
Well, we love it, man, and I'll tell you, with the kids that we have in our camps right now, we have, some young men from the Passamaquoddy tribe up in Maine. We got some young men from here in Brockton, and we work with kids from around the country, Greg, and the work you do through your foundation, what you guys do on your show, to me, it really is symbolic of what this entire area does. So, I think as you go into the holiday seasons and you guys do your telethon and all the work you guys do, just keep in mind, how much, people like myself appreciate it, have gained from it. And I don't think we should lose sight of that because in a world where, we've got Maura Healey as our governor and a lot of people, feel very dejected, about how the politics are going, the price of everything going skyrocketing. We still have awesome people here in New England who support great things.
Well, we love you.
Yes.
I mean, most of us. I know Ken Laird and you had an issue, but I don't know.
I love you, kid.
I don't know if you two ever broke bread or if that beef was squashed. I don't think it ever was.
Well, we've never had an opportunity. I mean, he won't leave his lair. He's so afraid. He's so afraid.
Yeah, he is. I think he's still sanitizing the mail.
And the bread.
Yeah, he said he stopped doing the groceries, but other than that, yeah.
Oh, he's not wiping the fruit down anymore?
No, he stopped that.
He just stopped eating fruit.
Oh my
He's
gosh.
probably driving. He's probably driving right now in his vehicle, listening with a mask on by himself. All right, Maddie, it is a pleasure to talk to you. Love you to death.
Oh, I love you guys. You guys have a great rest of the week. Appreciate it.
Tomorrow night, call the game.
Oh man, listen. I can't say anything negative about our boys. I wish them the best.
Yikes.
All right, Matt Light. As
See you,
always.
buddy.
All right, there he is on the Harbor One Hotline. We'll be right back.